All right, good morning, folks. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Welcome to Command Line Interface class. Before we start, let's look at what we did last week. We had XML and JSON conversion, and we talked about how data is passed from your computer to a server located in a remote place, and how server communicates with the database, gets the information back to you, how to convert XML into JSON, how XML is similar to HTML and different with HTML. Do want to ask a couple of questions to see if you still remember. Shobus, can you tell me what makes XML and HTML similar?
I think the tag, open, and so they are like similar markup language and human readable, and they have the opening tag and closing. I think they have the closing tag.
Correct.
And yeah,
that's definitely correct. It's those, the markup element is designed the same way, has the opening tag and closing tag properties. Who can tell me what's the difference between XML and HTML?
Is XML? It's based on HTML, like for you to read markup language on HTML, and JSON is markup language in accordance to Java code.
Yes. JSON is JavaScript object notation, so it doesn't have the markup element. What's the difference between XML and HTML, though? If both of them have the markup element, what makes HTML and XML different? Or think of what the purpose of those two are, and that's where the difference comes in.
I think XML don't need the head, body, those. They just work on the API on the server side, XML, and HTML is more into the front end.
Yes, you are on the right track. Anybody else want to chime in?
I mean, I was gonna say pretty much something along those lines.
Right. So HTML is it has preset tags, meaning you can't come up with a tag of your own. You can't put in a opening bracket, opening tag, you can't put in any kind of word you want. But XML, you can. Now, why is that? Number one is HTML is only designed to display the data on the browser. But XML is designed to do what?
To read the data or process it, understand it.
Almost there.
Is it to communicate with the server?
Yes, along that line. Here is a hint. What is the purpose of XML?
To store and transport data.
Store and transport data. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's like an envelope. You put in a letter in the envelope and you send it out, or you store that letter in that envelope somewhere. That's all the XML does. Okay, now different applications, different platforms It doesn't matter if it's Windows, it doesn't matter if it's Linux or Mac, we'll be able to take that envelope, open it up, and computer or any software or any programming language is able to understand that XML structure and be able to read the data and display it however way they want to. Not just display, but if there's any calculation on or any intelligent processing needed, they'll be able to do that. JSON and XML does the same thing. So that's pretty much the basics of it. There's another thing that you will notice where XML is, and you can't avoid that at all. There's no other way of having that data, which I'm going to show you in just a little bit before it gets started. Let me take a second to share the entire screen here. And also we'll look at the homework that we submitted. Boy, you all turned in your homework at the last minute. I was like up till 1 a.m. last night trying to see if there's anybody turned in, and there was nothing. I was curious to see how y'all did. And
Yeah, Haley came over like half an hour before, and
yeah.
we were going through the notes again, and I was like, "Oh crap, I need to submit on Classroom," but I didn't finish until like 2 in the morning, anyways, last night. So you wouldn't have seen it. Yeah, but yeah, I forgot about the Classroom submitting thing, so we submitted it real quick.
That's okay. It's gonna take a few rounds to get kind of used to of something, and then later on it will be like second nature for you to check there to see if there's anything there. So anyway, but I saw this morning 3 or 4 of you submitted. So let's go over and see how we did. Okay. But here's XML, an example, real world example. This is the project that I'm working on. And again, I'll walk you in there slowly. Don't want to shock you too much. The reason this screen is black is because I made it black. When you're going to be working 4 hours a day on computer, you don't want this white background because that's going to strain your eye. So you want to have this dark theme, which, as a matter of fact, you're able to do that on any screen. But for presentation purposes, I don't like to do black screen. It's not easy to see. But this is live project. I don't want to change it. Therefore, I just have to demo you on this. But when I'm going to train you, I'm going to have a white background on this and then training on it. But anyway, this is a on the top left corner, you're going to see something called project. Let me zoom in here. So are you able to see my zoomed in screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So in every kind of software like this, you're going to see a folder, right? And in your folder scheme, you're going to see something called a project. All the software codes are actually in a simple file folder system that you store your pictures or whatever whatnot. It may seem very simple, but that file contains amazing, crucial code that runs companies' websites and applications and government stuff and all that. All of that is just in a simple file. That's it. And you have this file open here. This is the file that I have. I have this called landscape test. The landscape is the software or web application, and we named this project landscape test because this is just going to be testing the landscape application. Now the developers have the same thing. Their code, their project name is just landscape, and their code builds the software or builds the website and our code goes into the website and tests it. So very much similar structure that we have. Now, if I open this project, don't worry about this. This is called external libraries. I'll explain this later. But here's everything. Everything is inside this folder. Now, if I expand open this, you're going to see a whole lot of things. A lot of folders within, a lot of files there. And you can open these folders, and there's folder inside folder, and everything has a specific purpose and a design there for it to work properly. If any mistake, then it's not going to work. And that's where the engineering comes in place. You really have to map out what file and what it does and where it is and stuff. But I don't want to go to details. I just want to show you one thing that is the most important piece of this project is this file right here. It's called pom.xml. Now, POM stands for Project Object Model, okay? And .xml. What do you notice about something we learned in this file name? Guys, anything pop out in this file name?
That's an XML file?
It's an XML file. Yeah. Look, I don't like to ask tricky, tough questions. I just ask simple questions, okay? So let me zoom out a little bit and close these windows here. These are all code pages. And so if I double click on this pom.xml, it's going to display right here. Let's do that. And what do you notice? How is it written?
With XML?
The XML, correct. What is it? What's the purpose of this file? Nothing more than what I taught you on that PowerPoint slide. Come on. What is the purpose of XML?
The purpose is to store the data.
Two things. One is store
Store and another.
To transfer.
and transport. Correct. So it's going to store the data and it's going to transport it somewhere. Okay. Now, what this file is doing, it's the same thing. It is actually storing data, right? Project data. What is my company name? What is the project name? And there's a whole bunch of other things, not today's class, but what it's doing is these data packets are being transported to different websites, different locations in the internet, and it's downloading things for you in this project. It's amazing how it works. When I show you in next 2 months later, when you get into Selenium, you will notice that just by me adding this much in here, I don't even have to go to a website to download JSON validator. I'll just put in this code right here and hit save, and you're going to be able to see that a whole bunch of file automatically gets downloaded. And if I don't like a certain version, for example 1.0, they got an update of JSON validator, let's say 2.0, all I have to do is come in here and change this to a 2.0, and my project will automatically download everything of 2.0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So welcome to the high-tech world. We don't go in and we download things for our projects that the way we do right now. Going to a website, download it, exe file downloads in your computer. You have to click on it and go through some of those download steps. You don't have to do that. You just keep this in here, and this whole thing will do it for you automatically. And as you need to update, you go in here and you update things. Now, this is very much of a architect level work. typically you joining a company, you're not going to be doing this work. Your boss or your project manager, um, your QA lead probably created this project and will be maintaining this. But you will just go into this project and they will show you where you're going to live. You're probably going to stay within a couple of file folders and you're just going to be working there. That's it. Everything else, as you get smarter, as you learn more, you're going to probably expand between this whole thing. And once you know everything about it, you can become a automation architect and maybe get that job in another company where you can set up everything for that company. So it certainly takes time for you to do that, but it's something you can one day you'll be able to if you continue working that path. So it is very important that you know how XML works, and you must know, even by looking at it, you must know right away that this is XML because it has an opening tag and a closing tag. Okay, for everything it has an opening tag and a closing tag. Anyway, so when we get to Selenium, we're going to be using this pom.xml. I'm going to show you how to build a project with this. And obviously, it's not going to be this complicated. We're not going to have this many things in there. We're just going to have maybe one or two things to start to show you how simple projects work. And then you can make it as sophisticated as you want as you learn more. Any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get out of this full screen view, get back in here, and let's look at the homeworks and see if we can find any mistakes. Let me zoom this in. Not the best view here. Let's see. Instead of that, I can just zoom the screen maybe. So first person I was looking at, let me do it this way. Right there, I got 4 people turned in. Actually, yeah, that's good. Tony, let's take a look at yours first. And you have XML. You didn't do the JSON?
No, I did, but I submitted it in 2 different files.
It's on the
Yeah.
on the right hand side. It was 2 different files.
This
Yeah.
one. Okay. All right. So the table that we had, let's pull up the table on the side. There's the table. Doesn't let me zoom in too much. You got the cars as the table name, XML. You got the opening bracket right there, and a closing here. Then you have individual car, and you got the ID as opening close. And by just scanning through this, looks everything is okay. Anybody has any questions? Anyone sees anything that I don't see?
Yeah, no, it's easy to see.
Huh?
It's easy to see.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but if you catch any mistakes, you can just point out. We can learn together. Because sometimes my eyes might miss something, and you may be able to pick up something better. So just point out. All right, let's take a look at JSON. So you got the opening bracket, curly braces there, you closed it, and then you have this opening here, and then you closed it there. This is how I check, make sure, because typically human error is of basically doing the opening and forgetting the closing sometimes, which is down here, and computer will throw an error on that. Let's see. So it's always best habit to have the opening and closing right away and then go inside and start typing, because there's so many brackets you can easily get lost in it. So that's a good strategy to do. So that matches up fine, and you have these two brackets with the comma here, and then all this data, and you did put comma here, comma here, comma here, and no comma needed on this one because there's no more data there. So the same pattern goes all the way up here, all the way up here, and up here, no problem. And anybody see any problems?
I'm not sure, but the thing is that I tried the same way Tony did. But when I trying to convert that JSON to XML, I was getting error. And if you go into the top, the very beginning, then it looks like I have to add cars, another option for the car, because it looks like we need to create a table. I mean, whole table concept, then need to add the car things. I'm just curious if you can transfer this code to XML, does it transfer or not?
Well, yeah, let's do that.
Because I think it may show some error.
Okay, and we'll check that. I'm curious as well. Before we do that,
I was trying this way, but I was not.
Okay, we'll check it out. Before we move to that, anybody want to point out one mistake that I see? If you can pick up, it's right here on this display. Go to mom. In the living room. Close the door, please. Anybody?
I don't see it.
Hint, hint, it's a comma.
After the very last one, ID 5, there shouldn't be a comma there.
Correct. So right here,
Yeah, that's my mistake.
this is an extra.
Yeah.
Because this, you have already,
More data.
you have a data packet right there, and then you have another data packet right here. You would need a comma here if you had another data packet down here. But because this is the last data set, you do not
see that
need a comma right here. But again, once we take this code down there to that site, it might even show additional issues. If not, then everything is perfect. So let's see if I can copy this. There's that copy. And let's see if I can find the site from here. Slide number that. And JSON to XML, this one. No, that's XML to JSON. JSON to XML. Bring it up here. Control A for select all, delete. Control V for paste. Let's maximize the screen. And it's not giving me any hint yet, but what if I kick it off to JSON to XML? Is that what you're talking about, Shobut?
Yeah, so it was, because if you see the employee code before, we need to create the structure with the employees, then we need to add employee. Yeah, so you see that employees, then we need to add employees. Same way, we need to add cars and do the car. So just
for
doing
another,
car.
Yeah, kind of like the XML, it's asking for another piece of data encapsulated this way. And probably because of this bracket right here, this start bracket right here, I think this could have been done Let me back out. So you're saying this has to have additional.
Yeah, I think we need to because if you see the XML code,
Yeah.
we need to pick the structure. I think the table. Then inside that table, we need to do the curve. We need to do one more curve.
Okay, just a second. So you got this first bracket and closing the first bracket, and then you have the table name.
Yes.
And then
The
you
table.
have another structure of the whole thing.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So just to fix his,
We just need the another.
one thing, and that will be even right here, encapsulate this whole thing. Make this one car.
Yeah.
Okay. And encapsulate this whole thing with, okay, got to do it carefully because, again, we're going to mess up with the bracket. So it's going to be opening bracket, curly brace, and then value cars, colon,
Yeah.
and this is fine. I just have to close this again down here, right?
Yes.
So we're just gonna have to close it down here with another curly brace. You can do it here, or you can go one line down here and say shift that. Will
Okay.
that be happy now? Let's see. Right to JSON to XML.
Did you take that last comma off at the end? Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
But it didn't give you this X marks like the last time it gave. Why is that?
Yeah, it's not error, but this time. So.
I guess the software is not working all the time. But what if I took that error out and now if I take it out, let's see. Still works.
Yeah, it still works.
Okay. So yeah, that you can do that. You can have another category over here and then another category down here. If you look at this one here, here's
But I
J.
was trying to do the same way, but it was not working for me. I was like, I spent lots of time.
Yeah, Shobuz, I'll copy yours and paste it here. So we'll see. Maybe there's an error and it's not telling you. The problem is it's not telling you where the error is the way we saw last time. And
Yeah.
it's not working because of that. Maybe the XML to JSON works better than JSON to XML. And this is just a site problem. I mean, they may have a different version or bug. Who knows? So take a look at this. Yeah, what you just mentioned that you can have a second category, you're right. Look at this format right here. Here's users. Okay, let me zoom in here. Notice
Yeah, we can.
there's users right here. And then that's the table. Under the users, we got another category called test. And under the test, we got, well, no. Yeah, we got another category called admin. And for admin, we have a data encapsulation right. And then for each of these extra data, we have a different name for it. Admin 2. We don't have anything right now. Then under the users, we also have another data, not test, but called dev.
Yeah.
Notice that this test and this dev are same category. Why? This line right here. This line is telling me, it's kind of like a tree, telling me this is the boss, this is the grandfather, and then this is the child, and this is the child right there. Okay? Now this child, the son, grandfather, this is the father, and these are kids. 1, kid number, 2. How do I know that? Again, look at this line. Okay, so here's a sibling. These two are siblings right here. And under this sibling, we have another category called admin and another one, admin 2. All right, make sense?
Yes.
It's totally
Yes,
okay for you to organize data that way using JSON. And is it right or wrong? Nope. You can have as many as you want, as many categories, as many drop downs you want to bring the data down to. This data, by the way, this is for test. Who can tell me what this test means? Compare this with dev. Who can tell me what that means?
The test is the QA. The QA department.
Both of these are QA department. Yes, Shobuz, I think you're kind of in the right track there.
That's for the users under the QA, and that is for the dev department that is goes to the dev.
Yes, but more specifically, it's the dev environment.
Okay.
When you are in the dev environment, this is the user password that we need to go into that environment, log in into that website and test the site. Okay. And for test, what's another word for test environment?
Staging.
Good. What's another one?
QA.
QA, correct. This is good job. So QA environment or test environment or staging environment is the middle purgatory kind of stage where you bring in code from dev to staging or test. And when the code is in test environment, that's the username and password you're going to use. Now you're probably asking, well, they're the same. This password, actually, they're not.
They're different.
Notice the password for this environment is password 1 and this one is password 2. Okay, but even if it was same, you should have it listed 2 different ways, because what if someday you want to change that? In that case, all you have to do is come in here and change the password. You may have 100 test cases and you don't want to go in hard code things. If you leave it in a file and have all your test cases jump into this file, pick up the password of particular environment and use it, that's what's happening in this file. Understand in a broad way, do you understand this? In a high level.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's your real world of JSON. So good job, Tony. Let's go to Shobuz since you encountered an issue. So let's see if we can resolve that. And I'll come back to it shortly. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's copy this whole thing. And go into that. JSON to XML. Select all. Paste. And let me delete this. Looks fine to me. JSON to XML. It's working. So
Yeah.
you're saying it wasn't working when you took that off, right?
Yeah. When I took it out, it was not working.
Okay. So folks, again, all right, let me do that. Let me take it off and see. You can always test your code here. And if you are able to get a conversion, that means your code works. I don't know why, but it worked for me.
Yeah, it's still working now, but I mean, when it spends a lot of time, I don't know why it was not working then.
Yeah. And just FYI, you see how this is right here?
Yeah.
and this. So if you turned in, I'm not blaming you. Just if you copied this and turned in to me as you done the work for XML, guess what? You've also copied this part.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna point you out for it, but I've noticed some of you, for the lack of time, you probably just copied that whole thing, and you should actually type it, because it does make a difference when you type it yourself. Anyway, let me see. Who else? Is this Desmond? And taking his, how that comes up. Delete that. JSON to XML. It transfers. That means he has no errors. Okay. And another, I see Haley, and there's XML there. So let's take an XML and transfer. Not that one, this one. Take that whole thing, paste it, and it transferred right away. So no errors there either. Okay, did I miss anybody? Any questions before we move on?
No.
Okay. I assume that you're pretty good with JSON and XML now?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Let's go into our next thing here. What happened? I just closed it down, or? Yeah. All right, today's class is on command line interface. Let me change the share view here. One second. Anybody knows what a command line is? I mean, any basic, have you ever heard anything? Share with me. Let's see how much you know.
I mean, I think I've seen it a few times, like people using it in class and stuff. It's command line, probably you can tell the computer to do certain things through code and it'll do it, something like that.
Yes. Yeah, it is like that. Have you
Yeah.
ever done any typing in the command line? Anybody?
Have I ever done that?
Yeah.
I've done it like a few times, but that's just because my professor tells me what to do, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Shobuz, you are in the tech field. Did you use command line quite a bit there?
Yeah, it was. I had to use it at daily for the Linux environment.
Yeah.
So I use those commands on my. It was my part of job.
Oh man, then
So,
you can probably teach me.
no, not really. But just a few commands that we have to do it every single day. So just go to the folder, zip the file, if there is a. So that's a common regular work. So the commands that you gave, so pretty much we have to use those.
I see. So you looked at the slides and
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing. So you already know this stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So just point out if I make any mistakes, and if there's anything you want to add, feel free to do that. Let's pick your brain on that, and I might even add some things on the PowerPoint later on. So don't hesitate to stop me and and add things to it. Okay, so the class is command line interface, and I have some of these things here. You're not gonna need a lot, and I'm only gonna teach you at bare bone minimum what you need basically for this automation. You're welcome to go farther and learn more. I would encourage you to, but again, it's up to you. Really not needed. And the best part is you may think, oh, it's so complicated, it's so difficult, I've never done anything like this before. Will I be able to handle this? Well, frankly, I'm going to teach you a few handful of code that you're going to be using it over and over and over. It's the same thing over and over. And 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 then it becomes like you encode it in your memory, and you won't even think about how that it is complex or anything like that. Okay. So let's pull this PowerPoint up and go over a bit of what we're talking about. But I need to give you some basics before we move into this lesson. But what are we looking at today? You're going to learn what a file explorer is and how to navigate through a file explorer. This is very, very important. And command line. What is command line? What's PowerShell? And finally, what is Git? And with the Git, I'm also going to give you a high level on what is version control. And then I'm going to leave you with the homework. The homework is for you to download a SQL database into your system and be ready for next class. From next class, we're starting SQL database management. So the download is you're gonna need the download so that you can start practicing SQL there. Anyway, so the first thing I want you to know is something called File Explorer. And how are things folderized in your computer? Now, in one way or another, you have encountered this. Without knowingly, nobody ever taught you. You probably just figured things out, or maybe somebody gave you some pointers and you picked up on it. Because it's so crucial that you must have encountered something like this. This window right here where all the files are organized. We're going to name it, we're going to call it a directory, or sometimes I'll say file explorer. So when I say that, that's what you need to open up and look into. Now, computer's memory, where everything is stored, all your files, pictures are organized in this window. This window shows you how, by default, some of these things are organized. Okay, now what do you need to look for? You don't need to use too many things in here. And there's a whole lot of default things in here that is just a total waste. But first thing you need to look for is something called quick access, which is at the very top. And that's where some things that you need to pick up on. First, you're going to see something called a desktop. And let me point this out here 1 second. That's not going to let me present well. Let me change this up a bit. One second, guys. I'm trying to get this tool up here. And that. All right. Really maximize this. So there's your desktop right there. Now that's a location. Can you still see fine, or is it too tiny? Do I need to zoom in?
I can see fine.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So everything that you see on your screen, computer screen, is your desktop memory location. That's a quick, handy way to look at things. For example, all these files that you see in here, right here, all of these, everything that you see here is your desktop icons, desktop stuff. All of these are stored in desktop. The good thing about this is it's easy. It's right there on your screen, and you can double click on it and it's going to open up for you. That's what that is. Now let's go back in there and show you that there's another thing called, let me do this here. There's another thing called downloads. So anytime you download something from online, it by default goes to this folder. You can change that obviously to a something else, but not needed. But just know that if you ever downloaded something and you're like, where did I download it? Where did it go? I guarantee you it's somewhere in here. Unless you delete it out of here, it will always be there, and you can go in here and find it later on down the road. The other things computer will pick up on and say, hey, you probably use this a lot. I see that you use this one a lot, this and this and this. So I'm going to display it right here for you. But there's no logic other than that behind it. And you may or may not find this useful, but that's up to you. But what is mainly happening is you have something called this PC, which is right there. This one here. And in this, you're going to, if you click on this PC, all right, you're going to see this part open up. And you may or may not have these other things that I have here, but you're definitely going to have something called Windows or Mac or something, but it's going to say C:. Okay. This is your big memory space. As a matter of fact, this desktop that you're looking at, this is part of this memory. This is the only main memory where everything is stored. So all of these downloads, this folder is also here. All of these quick access folders are also part of this. If you're asking, why is it called C:? Why not A:, or B:? Well, because back in the old days, A and B was designated for floppy memory, floppy disk memory. And we don't have those floppy disks anymore. And even though we don't have them anymore, right now nobody is using that, and C became a standard for a internal storage or internal memory, and that's why it's always that C:. Now, then you're asking, what are these other ones? Well, sometimes you will see these other ones, and these are currently X'd out because I don't have access. But if I'm in my company network, I may have access to some of their server memories, and this will pop up, and I can access some data in their server because I'm connected to them. If you insert a flash drive, you might see another one pop up here with like D, and that's your flash drive memory. If you put a DVD in your computer, you might see another one pop up says F:, and that could be a DVD memory. And once you eject the DVD, that goes away. So just keep an eye on that, okay? Now, let's take a look at this in a little bit more, a little bit deeper, and then we'll be done with it. Now, how are you gonna find where is your file explorer? One way to find this is if you go and click on Windows icon here and open this up and go to right click on this. I don't remember the other way of doing it. Yeah, there's one way to do this, but I can't remember. Try this one. Just go into this search box here and type in File Explorer, or look at this, it's already displaying right here. But if it wasn't, you just type in File. It will already give you the File Explorer window right here. And if you click on this window, it's gonna show up right here, somewhere on the window. Now, because we use this and you're going to be using this a lot, I would recommend that you make it appear on your task bar. This is your task bar or task bar right here. So you zoom in there. This is your task bar. Anything you open up, it's going to show up temporarily and then it's going to go away unless you make it stick right here. For example, right now, notice that this icon right here has an underline on it. That means this is currently being displayed. This is the task file explorer icon. If I want this to be stuck right here, so next time I just click on it and it opens up because I use it so much, and I recommend that you do that as well. All you have to do is right click on it. So you right click on it and it's going to give you an option of pin to your taskbar or unpin. So if I click on unpin right now, because I already pinned it, this is what you're going to see for the first time. It's going to say pinned to taskbar. So if you pin it, it's going to stay there. So I'm going to pin it. And if I close this window, notice that option is still there right here. And quickly I can click on this and I don't have to go and search anymore. I can just click on it once and there I go. And this window shows up. So use this for definitely File Explorer. And if there's anything else that you need access to, do that for that as well. Let me expand this and go inside and explain just a few things. Learn it because I'm not gonna go over this again. So I'll be referring you on how to use this, and I'll call you on some files, and you have to be able to understand what I'm talking about. So here's your this PC. So if you click here, notice that Windows C: is also here. So you can go directly right there, or you can click on this PC. And that's gonna take you one of these is right here. All of this that are listed right here is also listed under this PC right here. Notice this 3D object, that 3D object. So there's two ways to get to it. Go directly or click on this and then go here. Now this is your main memory. So it starts with C:. If I double click on this, it's going to open up. Okay. Now you're going to see a lot of folders here that you have no idea. These are system default that came in originally with your computers, and there are some things that are in here that make your whole computer work. The most important thing that makes your computer work is this program files, and this program files times 86. Now this used to be the one before. This is anytime there's a 32-bit software that uses the 32-bit bandwidth, then that is for those. And the latest ones are 64-bit. All the main ones are now in here. You should never touch these two. You should never delete anything in here, because those, if you do delete them, then your computer is going to work funny and it might even crash. Other things that are there, you are welcome to create a folder here and organize things, no problem. You can also create a folder in program files and organize there. That's not a problem either. The most important folder that you have in here for your personal use is called users. And in users, if I double click on this, when you first signed into the computer, your computer may have asked you for your name or asked you for a username. And that when you entered that username, your computer picked that up and created a users folder. For me, it's S Purification, so Stein Purification. That's my username. So all my stuff is actually under this folder. What is that then? Okay, if I double click on this and open this up, notice this downloads folder that I talked about is also in here. So that's where it's located. The desktop folder that I talked about, all the memories and files that are on my screen, is also in here. You're probably asking, why is this symbol doesn't look like a folder? Why is it an arrow? Well, you're welcome to change this folder icon to anything you want. But for default, Microsoft decided to use this arrow by showing this is a folder, but it's a download. It downloads something. It's just an icon and nothing else. Desktop is just an icon, but in fact, it is a folder, because if I click open, all the stuff that was displayed on my screen is right here. So it's a folder inside a folder. Sometimes I can go backward by just clicking right here. Okay, I can click on S Purification. It's going to take me to my folder, and I'm back here. If I want to go one step backward, I can go to users or C, and it's going to take me there. Okay. Let's go into what else? So desktop and downloads are in here. If I go back into desktop and I want to know where all this stuff is, if I want to find a path, then I can click on this. Or this is my path. It goes to Windows, then users, then C:, users, S Purification, desktop, and then all of this stuff is right there. I can click right here in this box and notice it gives me a path I can copy. I can copy this path, Control C, and use it somewhere and whatnot, and do whatever we have to do. You're going to need the skill. I'm going to ask you to copy the path, and you're going to have to come in here, click on this bar, and copy this for your project and whatnot. Okay? That's all here. I think you already know how to create a new folder. You can click on new folder and give it a name. It's going to come up like this, and you just type in a name. Let's say tools. All right, and I'm going to make you create a bunch of folders and organize your stuff. So just know how to do that. There are other things you can do. You can change display here by right-clicking anywhere in empty space. Right-click, and it's going to give you these options. And in this, one of the options is called View, and you can change from small icon to large icon to details. Here's a large icon. Particularly want to take you to downloads. This is a good skill for you to have, because you're going to be downloading stuff and you're going to lose stuff and you're going to be asking about it. So I'll just teach you now. If you go to downloads, you're going to see all these here. Again, you can organize and view it the way you want. You can right click and say, I want to view it in large, extra large documents or folders like this. It's too big for me. I don't like it this way. View, let's say small icon. These are small icons. What I like to do is I like to view it where it says detail. So right click, view, detail. Notice what happens is in detail view, I get the date last modified. So if let's say I don't remember. Did I ever download this called interview something? It's an interview file. I don't remember. But if I'm here and I can say, let me click here and sort this. And I kind of remember I did it on the 8th. Then I can go look for the files that downloaded on the 8th, and I'm like, okay, there you go. I got it. The other times I'm like, I don't remember, did I download Git? Okay, let me sort it where it's gonna show me what's the latest. So there's your latest 27, which is probably last night. And there you go. I still have it. All right. Other informations you can use is how big the file is. Sometimes large files can take up a lot of space, and you may have to delete them in order to clear up space. As a matter of fact, I can delete all of these because I have downloaded this at some point, long time back, and I'm not using this anymore. It's got downloaded and it got installed, whatever, but I don't need these folders, files anymore, and I can delete this and clean all this up. That's all I have for you guys on this. Any questions about File Explorer? Any questions? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no question from my side.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's take 5 minutes break. Come back, and what I'll do is when we come back, we'll talk about what is interface, and then take you deeper into command line interface. Okay. Are you all back?
Yes.
All right. We did that. Let's talk about what interface is. The dictionary definition of interface is a point where two systems or subjects or organizations or anything that would meet and interact. Okay? It's a point. It's a place. Or it's a visual. Something where two systems, two things, minimum two things that are going to meet and interact. That interact can be anything. Take a look at this. You got computers, and which is full of a bunch of wires and things that we have no idea how things work. And there's no way for us to interact for a human with the computer in that machine way. So what we need is a face. For all that complicated stuff, we need a human interactable face. So this face here, this is the face of the computer. And this is the face of the human, as you can tell. And now they can communicate. So this face here is called the interface. Okay. This is a point where two systems, one is human system and the computer system, can meet and interact. And interaction can be just clicking through the buttons, giving instructions for this computer backend stuff to give you something that you want. Right? So that's where the word interface comes from, and you're going to see a lot of these pop up every now and then. So first thing is, what is GUI? Who can tell me what is GUI from our previous classes?
The graphical user interface.
Graphical user interface, right? And that has the word interface in it. It has the word graphical user. Okay, let's take a look at what is that. I mentioned that that is the that beautiful screen that you see. There are these buttons or tiles that you can click on and display. It's easily readable. That's what you guys been seeing from the get-go. But some of us older folks like me, myself, with the first computer we saw, it didn't have this. I had a computer called 386, and that was just black screen and had nothing to do with these buttons. Shobuz and Desmond, you've probably seen those. Anyway, so graphical is basically these beautiful graph-like display or a chart-like display. That's what's called graphical and user interface. This, what you've been interacting with, is graphical user interface or GUI, and in short, we're gonna say UI or user interface. Now let's take a look at what is command line interface. So there are two types of interface: graphical interface, and the other is command line interface. It may be echoing, Loretta. If
Yeah,
you
we're getting a weird echo.
Loretta, if you want to mute first. Okay. Yeah, the echo is gone. All right. So command line interface is something that looks like this. It's all black. When I turned on my 386 computer, it would open up like this. And that's all there is to it. I had to type stuff in for the computer to do something. I had no software like this that would give me all this. And that was like in 1998 when I first saw a computer.
It does a DOS prompt.
Yes, DOS, which stands for Disk Operating System, is what it was using. And believe me or not, the platform is still the same. The only thing is Microsoft came in and his revolution was that, hey, let's make it graphical. Let's make it beautiful. Let's make it easier for people to do. So he came in with that white background with all the tiles and beautiful menu items on the side, that you don't have to use this anymore. And that's what one of the things that made him the richest man in the world. So that was the revolution that he did. Anyway, this interface or this particular window that you're going to see where you can write commands for a computer to do things is a text base. You have to type it in. You can't, there's no clicking or dragging and dropping. All that is not there. So text-based user interface for operating system. Back in the early days, all the way to 1980s, this was heavily used. And now hardly anybody uses it other than just software engineers and some other company mechanical engineers and so forth. This was called the MS-DOS or Microsoft Disk Operating System, and now it's no longer used that way, but we use a graphical user interface. If you're an administrator of a company and you have some things that you're going to do, most of the administrators and software engineers, you're going to see that they're using this interface, and there's a reason why. All the actions, all the things that you are able to do using GUI, or the tiles that you see, or you click a button and you open something up, you drag and drop, all of that can be done through the command line interface. In short, CLI, command line interface. Not just that, the command line interface can do more functions than that you are able to do with graphical user interface. And because graphical user interface is just another layer on top of the command line, when you, let's say, click a button in GUI, it has to go, that button command has to go to CLI and still type it in, which you don't see. And then it goes into the machine and does things. So which system, which interface system is going to be slower? Who can tell me? The CLI or GUI?
Graphical.
Graphical, yeah. GUI is going to be slower because it has to go through the CLI and then go into the machine to ask something. So CLI is faster than GUI. You type it in, hit enter, and it's done. But you drag and drop something, or you click a button, a file may be created. It's a little bit slower than the CLI. That's why CLI is important. And again, because it can do so many things and so much faster, later on, down the road, we're going to be using CLI to do our files and running automation and things like that. And again, don't panic, because I'm only going to teach you a handful of things that that you're going to need to use this. Is there a user interface to do it? Sure. Can you learn that and use that? Yeah. But does it show you that you are an amazing engineer? No. If you are good with this black screen and you use that, that's going to put you at a very high level in the engineering field. People are going to think that you are a seasoned engineer and respect you a lot. Okay, and that's why I need to teach you that. The graphical user interface of the you can learn yourself is pretty easy. So let's start with the how do I find it? Where is it located? So in your computer, if you go into the search box and there's your search window, and in here, if you type CMD in short, so CMD or CM or CMD, you're going to see the very top suggestion pop up called command prompt, and you can click on that, and that's going to open up the command line for you, which if I click here, and there it is. Let me bring this down here. Okay, and it opens up at, notice that file location is C:, then it went to Windows and System32. By the way, that is, again, it's in here. Let me open this up here, and so if it went to C:, there's your C:, and if I trace that down, there's Windows, and there should be something called System32 right there, and right here. So the command line opened up somewhere in here. That's by default, it opens up. So let's take a look at it again. There, C:, Windows, and then System32. You don't have to be in here. You can be in anywhere else and in any other folder path and start working on it. So, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. The other thing is, how do I well, this window here, this is not gonna allow you to do everything. If you just click on it and open it up this way, certain actions is going to block you because you are signed in here as a regular user. But if you wanted administrative access to this, where you can really mess up everything if you want to, or do some really serious installation stuff, then you have to open this up in a different way. And here's what you do. You go back into that search box, which is down here, and you type in CMD. And when you see this option come up that says command prompt, instead of clicking on it, if you right click on it, it will give you this window. And in this window, you click run as administrator. And when you do that, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do that? And you say yes, why not? And it opens up an identical window, except now it's going to say administrator way up there, and it's going to give you a few more extra rights that you didn't have before. Okay, any question about how to access command line as an administrator? No questions, right? And there's the notes right here on how to do that. Let me just go back here, and there it is. So if you need to look at that, let's start practicing. So first thing is, I'm going to show you how to navigate around things a bit. So let's take a look at what a directory is. Directory is a list of data or files. We're going to call this either directory or folder. Okay, so let me split this up into two windows here and move this in here. And here's my command line prompt. And I may need to zoom in and back and forth a little bit for you to see. Let me see if I can enlarge this. Properties. So if I wanted to enlarge this view, certainly it's good if you know it. You can click on this icon at the top left corner, go to properties, and go to font. And you can change the font to, let's say, 24. I want to double it up. Maybe 74 might be too big. Let's see. Yeah, that's too big. So properties, font, and go to 36. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And in here, oh, that's okay because that's zoomed in there. Maybe it's not okay if I, so 72 might be okay here. Yeah, let's work with that. Come on. I want this window to be a little bit bigger. It's not letting me. Why is that? That's fine. Okay, let me just reset this for a little bit. And in any point of the way, if you feel like you're not able to see it, then let me know. I can zoom in and adjust everything. So let me go back to that slide right there. And the first thing I want you to look at is, let's see, navigating back one step. So if I click here, right, your cursor is going to be blinking. If you open this up, you can type something. And first thing is, how do I change this? By default, it shows up in Windows System 32. I want to go to a different folder. How do I do that? What you can type in is called CD or change directory. Directory is nothing but these folders, okay? Which means a list of data or files. So all of these, this Windows is a list, is a directory. The System 32 is a directory because it has a list of data or files. If I type in CD with 2 dots, dot, dot, and hit enter, it will take me back one step, meaning it took me now back inside this Windows directory. Just like you saw in File Explorer, I could just click on Windows and take me back to Windows. Instead of clicking, now I can type in CD dot dot, which will take me back. Okay, what if I wanted to go back farther and I don't want to be inside Windows? Then I could also type in again CD dot dot, and it will take me back one step. Okay, now if you wanted to go back 2 steps, for example, so let's say if I open this up again, go in here, CMD, run it as an administrator, say yes, bring it back up here. I don't want to be in these two. I want to go back 2 steps and go straight to C:. I can type in CD dot dot / dot dot, and it will take me back 2 steps. Questions so far?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, yeah, we're with you.
Okay, and any point of the way, if you need me to go over something, feel free to ask, okay? Next one is display the content. And I have all of this in here so you can practice side by side just like I'm doing. Anytime you need a refresher, go back and do this one at a time. So what's in this Windows or what's in this C:? I want to display it. I want to see what's there. 2 commands. One is called dir, which is short for directory. or ls. Now, ls works for something else, but I just wanted to point it out that some things like PowerShell, which I'll show you shortly, does not recognize dir. In that case, you may need to switch it up a little bit. So when you go for a company and you see a new,
Can I say something?
go ahead, yes.
That cd dot dot slash dot dot. If you don't press dot dot, just this slash is gonna work the same thing.
Oh, let's try that.
Just cd and slash.
CD and /. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Let me try this. That will be even a shorter. And if I do cd dot dot just /.
No, just this slash.
Oh, it's
No dot.
slash,
Mm-hmm.
and it will take me straight back to that. Awesome. Awesome. So basically, that's not for two-step. That's like if I were any step, it's going to take me all the way back. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll experiment with that shortly. So let's take a look at how do I display what's in this big memory stuff. You can just type in dir, and hit enter. And it gave you a lot of things here. Here's my command, dir, telling me it's in volume drive C, serial number, which I didn't ask for, gave me anyway, and directory of C, and here are all the stuff that is there. Notice that these items that I have, these are folders. Who can tell me, how do I know this is a folder that has more stuff in it?
It is a directory.
It is a directory because it says on the left column that it is a directory. So if it's a directory, meaning this is not a file, it's a folder, and there's more stuff in there. It could be more files and more folders in there. We don't know that yet. But look at this one. Robocopy underscore Oracle TXT. I don't know even what that is. But it doesn't have this dir next to it. That tells me that this is just a file. Actually, it's just a notepad file, which says txt. Got it? Now, if I wanted to display something, if I wanted to go deep into that, then I will have to specify how to do that. But here's another command you need to know is, how do I clean this up? So this is pretty messy and I want to clean it up. You can just type in CLS for short and hit enter, and it cleaned up and it went all the way straight back. For some other, you have to actually type in clear, but clear is not recognized in command line. It may be recognized in something called git, which I'm going to show you towards the end of the class. Let's do CLS to clean it up. Go back up there, and here's my directory. What if I type in ls here? ls is not going to be recognized, but you will see ls is recognized in something else that I'm going to show you end of this class. Okay, let's clean this up again. All right, next thing is, how do I display a specific file type? Okay, so what if I wanted to display certain file type only? So you notice that if I do dir, it shows me there's only one file here. Okay, but I don't want to search this whole thing. There may be like so many things and I have to scroll down back and forth. But let's say I have this file somewhere. I have a txt file, or maybe like 10 txt files that I want just directory to display of what I have there. What I could do is type in, let's go clean this up again. CLS, I could just type in dir space star. This star is very important. It's going to be very important in your life. You're going to see this star thing come up over and over. Anytime you see a star, that means all. Okay? Star means all. So directory, show me directory, all, if you say .txt, meaning all files, I don't care what name appears before the dot, but anything that has .txt after, go ahead and display. Right now, I only had one, which was robocopy oracle txt, so it just displayed that. What if I had more? Then it would have displayed more. Okay. The other thing is, if I wanted to move to a specific folder, then here's what you're gonna do is, let's clean this up and look at dir here. And let's say I have this users folder. Okay, users directory. I want to get into users directory. What you have to do is same thing. Yes. You type in cd, which means change directory. I mean, I don't want to be here. Change it. You can say ... to go back, but there's no more going back here. This is the end of the road. You could say space and type in where you want to go to. So you could say C:// and notice that if I just type in U and if I hit the tab button, it's gonna auto-complete it for me. So if I go here and type in U, it's gonna, if I hit tab, it's gonna pick up what's there with the U. And there's only one, and that's why it picked up users and auto-completed for me. If I now hit enter, guess what happens? Now I got the C drive and I am inside the users directory or folder. And if I type in dir here, it's gonna show me all the folders that are inside users folder. And if there's any files, that's also gonna be displayed. Notice when I entered that, this is what it gave me. These are some hidden files that you don't need to worry about. Those are some systems files, but you'll see administrator, public, script, and S purification. That's where all my stuff is located. And all of these are marked by directory. They're not files, they're folders, meaning they have more stuff in it. And if I wanted to go to S purification now, inside that, I would go here and type in, Tony, tell me what to type in.
To get into your purification?
Yeah.
Stein? No.
DIR.
dir will display what I have. But if I want to get inside this folder, look at the notes on the left.
Wouldn't it be specific file type, the dir with the HTML?
No.
Is it specific file? No?
Just put the S purification. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh.
We just
You just have to type in change directory.
Space, then the purification.
Yeah. So if you want to change this from users to something else you want to go to, just type in cd. Okay. Space, because you want to go to a specific one, you could just type in S and P and hit the tab button. It will automatically fill it for you. But if you don't want to, if you want to be fancy and type it up yourself, that's fine too. And then if I hit enter, there, I am now inside S purification folder. Loretta, how do I display the content located inside S purification?
What is it?
How do I display what's inside S purification folder?
You have to put dir.
Correct. If I say directory or dir and hit enter, it's going to tell me all these files and folders that are inside the S purification. These are folders. These are files. Okay. These are files. And there's a file. All right. I want to go into this folder called Postman. Right? Notice I'm inside S purification. And Desmond, how do I go into Postman folder?
Okay, is that under SP purification?
Yes.
Okay, then cd gap and then Postman POS.
And notice I hit the tab button, it auto
Yeah.
for me, and all I have to hit is enter. And how do I know I'm inside the Postman? Because it's gonna say it right there. Okay. Tony, how do I display the content in Postman folder?
dir.
Good. And inside Postman, we have a directory called files. And then there's some hidden stuff right here that we don't need to mess with. And I think you got the point. Let's try out Shobuz's technique of cd. If I do // I'm betting that it's going to take me all the way back to C, not 2 steps. cd ... is going to take me 2 steps back, and then / another ... will, yeah. But if I hit enter, there you go. So yeah, Shobuz, what that does is that will take you wherever you are. You don't want to press cd ... You just press cd // it takes you back to the root directory, which is that C:. Okay.
It was from Desmond actually, not me.
Oh, it was Desmond? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Desmond, thank you for that. Loretta, can you tell me, how do I clear this window? What do I type in?
CLS.
Good. CLS, and that's going to clear things up for me. Okay. Any questions so far? One other thing, if you have some commands and you want to navigate back and forth, in your keyboard you have these navigation arrows. Okay. And you can use this up and down arrow to go back and forth some of the commands that you did before. It actually stores it for you. For example, if I hit the up arrow, it takes me back that I did a CLS command before. If I click up again, I did cd, dir, cd postman. See that? So sometimes you wrote the command once. Don't copy paste it. You can just go up arrow and it will take you back. You just go up arrow and hit an enter. Okay. So for example, I can use this command here, hit enter, and takes me back there. I can hit up arrow and say, at this point, I want to use users, cd users. Enter, takes me there. At that point, I want to go back and say directory. I can do that. All right, that's your navigation arrow keys that you can use to do that. Questions?
No.
All right. How do I display a directory as a tree map? All right, do CLS to clean it up. A tree map, you do cd dot dot, go back to the main directory. If you type in tree, notice if you type in directory, it shows you a list of all the folders that are inside. These are all the folders when it was created last or modified or accessed last, the date and the time, the type of the file and the file name. If you type in tree and hit enter, it has the same thing. It might take a little long. Yeah, it's going to take a little while to show all that. Just give it a second to finish. Can you tell me what it's doing? Anybody want to take a guess?
It's showing the folder structure.
It's showing the folder structure. Where is it located? Which folder is located under what? And because I went to the root directory and typed in tree, it's picking up everything, every single folder. I shouldn't have done that because I don't know when that's going to end. But if you feel like it's, you want to quit, always, do you know the command quit? You can always click on this and say exit. Okay.
I don't know if Control C will work or not.
What was that? Control C?
Yeah.
Control C. Control C did stop it, yes. So you can press Control C to stop it, or you can just X out of it, and that will quit that for you as well. Let me open this back up. Okay. So that wasn't the best move for me to actually do a tree command in here. Let's go to something simpler and look at the tree structure there. All right, so I'll do cd / to go back to the root directory. I want to go into users. So Tony, how do I get into users folder?
Type in U and tab.
But first command what?
CD.
CD, change directory.
CD space users.
And then you have to say where. First you have to say what, and then you have to say where. So CD, change directory to U, and then tab, and takes me to users. Yeah. And we got this directory here, and that's not too big. So I can probably do the tree command here. And still Control C. Let me stop and clean this up. Let's go deeper into it. The directory, let's go into S purification. So Haley, how do I go into S purification?
You just type S purification.
No.
Hold on. Isn't it goodness, CD?
CD, yeah.
And then S
What do you want the
space.
computer to do first? Change directory, space, then where? S,
Then S.
yeah, and then tab will fill that up. I am now inside this. If I, Loretta, how do I display the content inside S purification?
DIR.
DIR. And there's that. Let's go deep inside. I say, let me see, I don't want to go into something big here. So right now I'm in S purification, and there should be desktop. So desktop should be fine. I do CD desktop. It needs more space. DES desktop, enter, and I'm inside desktop. And if I do directory, it's going to show me all the stuff that's inside desktop. Here, I should be able to do a tree command and have something, not a whole lot. So take a look at this. In this tree command, it's telling me same thing. This I have a this right here called adjectives. I don't even know what that is. There's something there. Adjectives. There's a directory there, name with that. There's an Aurora, there's a boat. Okay. So all of these that was listed here, boat. This was a list of everything, but this one gives me a diagram, beautifully located, that my lessons directory or folder has files and another file name. And I have this Masergy folder. Inside Masergy folder, I have more folders. Okay. And then inside that, I have a test.txt file and so forth. So any questions about the tree command? Next is, how do I change color? Really not needed, but for fun, I wanted to show you. If you just type in color 0B, it changes color. And if you wanted to restore whatever color you did, if you type in color 07, it goes back to the standard. How do I know how many different colors and stuff I can do? You just type in color space / with a question mark. Hit enter. It's going to tell you these things, information. It's going to give you the information to change the background color and also the text color of your choice. Now, the first, there's 2-digit numbers. As you can see, there's like 0B here and then 07. The first digit is for your background. And second digit is for your text color. And you can have any combination of these two and to come up with something. For example, what if I wanted my background to be blue and the text to be red? Okay, so blue is 1 and red is, light red may not come out. Let's do a dark red. So blue my background and red is the text color. So I need the 1 first and then the 4. So I can now type in color 1 4, and there you go. I can hit the back arrow up, and here's my stuff again. Tony, give me a combination of background and a text color of your choice.
Color of background. What color?
Aqua
Aqua.
and gray.
Okay, aqua back and
So
gray. So command would be
3-8.
3
8.
8 3 8.
Yeah.
So color 3 8, and there you go. Okay, Desmond, how do I get back to the default?
The color list or all the way back?
No, all the way back to how it was, like default. Default is like the standard.
CD slash.
No, the like the color scheme. CD slash.
Oh, okay. Then color space slash and the question mark.
No, that will give me the information. So if you press 07, 0 is black.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, 07. Yeah.
And 7 is the white. So 07, black background, white text is going to take you back to standard. So if you ever see any different colors and you don't like it and you want to go back to your standard color, just type in 07, the lucky number 7, and that will take you back. Here's a command that you're not going to need a lot, but I do want to show you. If you type in ATTRIB, and what it's going to display is it's going to display everything that's inside this desktop folder with this extra code. This one is called archived. Okay, if you ever deleted something, then those have been coded as archived. So you may think that when you delete something, it's deleted. Actually not. There are ways that software engineers can open up even the stuff that you deleted. So anytime ever you write something, take a picture or whatnot, it can never be deleted permanently unless you really burn the disk. But it can be retrieved. Take a look at this one. This H means hidden. So some of these folders or files are hidden. That's all I'm going to say on that. If you want to dig up more, you can. But there are a lot of cool things you can do that general public doesn't even know that it's doable. And I just want to point it out there that technology, we think we know so much, but so much we don't know. And everything in digital world is once written, is recorded forever. And any good software engineer can dig up, and that's why we have so many hackers going around. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the attributes, you can type in attribute /? It will tell you more about it, and you can read it. It's going to display it right here, as a matter of fact, ATTRIB /? And it tells you the definitions of some of these things and some of these things you can do. What if you wanted to create inside desktop, I wanted to create a file, okay, and write something in it? You can actually do that from the command line. You can type in the word echo, okay? Let me bring it down here. You type in the word echo, ECHO, and whatever you want to type in, like I am in good mood today. I want this I am in good mood today to be typed inside a folder. The command you have to use is called echo. And now if you hit space or not space, just even a arrow like this, this is where you're gonna specify where, or you give it a name of a file. Let's call it a sample, or sample file. Sample file, and the type of file I want is .txt. So if I type that and hit enter, a file has been created called sample file.txt. How do I see it? dir. In this, look for under the S, notice that there is a file just got created, sample file.txt. Okay? Now, if I wanted to display what's inside this file, I can use this command. Let me just delete this. I can say type command, or lowercase, everything is lowercase. Type sample, and if I hit the tab, it will complete for me. It knows that there's only one file there. Now if I hit enter, look at this. I have that file displayed right there. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to go in your UI way, and you can still find that file there. If you go to Windows, Users, as purification, Desktop. It's not easy to see in this view, so I would make it a list view, right click, view, details, or list, details. And I want to say which one I modified latest. If I sort this, there you go, today's date. And their sample file got created. If I double click on this, it's going to open up in the UI way, and that's what I wrote in that file. Shows up. Pretty cool. All right. Going back in here. Now, if I say echo if I say echo I just had breakfast, okay, and I want to type that into, so that angle bracket pointing to the right, into that same file, sample, and hit the tab, it auto-completes for me. And if I hit enter, okay, what just happened, if I now want to display what happened in that folder, I can hit the up arrow. There's my command, type sample file.txt. It's going to display what's inside that file. So now if I hit enter, it says I just had breakfast. So if I go back into that file, sample file, open it up, now it says I just had breakfast. What happened to what I just typed before, which was I'm in good mood? It got replaced. It got replaced. What if I don't want to replace that and I want to add on top of it, or maybe aside it and have extra information? In that case, you would have to use double arrow. So if I type in echo, I am in good mood today. I am in good mood today. And I don't want this to be deleted from there. I just had breakfast. I can hit double arrow and say in that file, sample file, and hit enter. And it did that for me. I can display it by going to that command saying type sample file.txt, hit enter, enter. Something is wrong with this. Type sample file, and there you go. Now I just had breakfast. I am in good mood today. Let's open up that folder to see if that really happened. Double click to open that. There you have it, guys. We got both of these lines that are right there now. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, not so far.
All right, cool. What time is it? Let's see. 11:04. Let's take 5 minutes break and we'll continue from there on. Are you guys back?
Yes, we're back.
All right, awesome. There's something called PowerShell, and you can access that also by going into the search box here and typing in PowerShell. And it's going to come up right here, the first option that's called Windows PowerShell. And if you click here, it gives you something like this, which says PowerShell on top of it. You can also open up the PowerShell as an administrator by typing in PowerShell, right click on the option and say Run as PowerShell. Check yes. And there you have it. Now you're running PowerShell as administrator. You can change the font same way. Properties, font, let's say 24. A little bit more. Go to maybe 36. All right. Also opened up in Windows System 32. Only difference is it says PS, stands for PowerShell. And by default, it has a dark blue background with white screen on it. The difference between command line and PowerShell is PowerShell has more capabilities than command line, and server engineers that work with servers, Linux operating systems, and things like that, they use PowerShell more so than command line. And I don't see you using this at all. But if you ever encounter this, I want you to know that you can do everything that you can do in command prompt in here, and possibly some things more. Which things more? I don't know. I just know that this does more. All of the commands, most of the commands that you did in command line work here. Okay, but there are some that doesn't work. There's a replacement for it. There's one I'm going to point out to you is if I say dir, I can do cd ... It's going to take me back. Okay, I can do another cd ... take me back. I can do change direct cd. Well, let me see what's in here. Well, we know that there's users there, so I can certainly type in cd users and then hit tab. It will autocomplete, but it autocompletes in a different way. Doesn't matter. You hit enter and you are in users. But if I wanted to display the directory, if I type in dir, it does display it. It does display, but it's not going to display. It's also going to display if you type in ls. Okay, ls, and hit enter. And there you go. You have your directories displayed by typing ls. Now, in some places, ls doesn't work. Dir doesn't work. And you're going to see that later on when we download Git. So I want you to memorize this, dir or ls. You don't have to memorize which one works where. But if you feel like I typed in dir, nothing showed up, go try ls. And that might work. Okay, just remember that. It came in very handy for me when I started my company. And my boss didn't know the ls, and dir wasn't working, so I kind of typed in ls and it displayed data, and he was pretty impressed by that. So anyway, that's all you need to know about PowerShell. that it's there. It's kind of like CMD, and you can use that. And if you get a job, somebody asks you a question about it, just act like you know, and just give just that much information. If you just say, if they ever dig into you, what is PowerShell? How is PowerShell different from CMD? Just say that it has more capabilities, and it can do same thing and more than what command line can do. And some commands are PowerShell will recognize more commands, more different diverse commands versus command prompt or CMD is going to be limited to certain. So PowerShell has a broader spectrum of code understanding capability. Okay. Any questions about that?
No question.
All right. So let's just go back in here and see what we had. I'm going to go to slide number. We've done the formatting. Okay. So how do I create a directory? Just if I wanted to create a folder. I showed you how to create a file and even type something to it right before this. So let's see how we're going to do that. So I'm going to clean this up. And I'm inside desktop. Let me look at what do we have. We have these folder. There's something called My Stuff. So let me go into CD My Stuff. And I'm in My Stuff, dir, letterhead.pdf. This is all I have. Okay, so I'm in My Stuff folder. And suppose I can also do tree. Nothing there for the tree to show up much. It's only one item. No subfolders exist. All right. So now if I wanted to create a folder, I would just type in mkdir. MK stands for make directory. Dir stands for directory. So make directory space, give it a name, whatever name you want. Let's say new folder. We'll name it new folder. And if I hit enter, it has created. If I wanted to see if it got created or not, I can type in dir. And there you go. I got new folder created. What if I wanted to go into this folder called new folder? And I can go in CD, new folder, tab, enter. I'm in new folder. Create another one, mkdir. Another folder. Name is another folder. It has created it. If I hit dir, it's going to show you another folder got created. Let me go cd ... and I'm in My Stuff. Now if I hit tree, TREE. Look at this structure. I've created new folder, and inside new folder, I've created another folder. Okay. Any question about creating new folders? How do I, yeah. All right. How do I delete a folder? Well, delete, you use the word remove or RM. RM stands for remove a folder. So in here, if I wanted to, let's say, remove another folder, then I need to go inside new folder. So I type in cd new folder. I'm inside new folder. If I wanted to check what's there, there's a folder called another folder. So if I wanted to delete this, I have to type in rm, meaning remove, and then the folder name, which is another. I can just do ANO and hit tab. It auto picks it for me. RMDIR. RMDIR, remove directory. Another, and hit tab. Another folder comes up. Hit enter. If I now say dir, nothing there. That file is not there. If I go to do cd ... go back one step, and if I type in tree, it only shows the new folder, but the another folder that was there, which was like this, new folder, and then another folder, that is no longer there. Now it's showing just the new folder is there. Okay. Next. Okay. How do I force delete a directory? Okay, take a look at this situation. You got this new folder. I'm going to create another folder inside it. I'm going to go into cd new folder and create mkdir make directory and called test folder cd ... go back and tree. There, I got this new folder, test folder, a test folder inside new folder, and inside this test folder I'm going to create a file. Suppose I create a file called I don't know, let's say echo good morning. I'm going to write good morning into a file called test file.txt. If I hit enter, it has created that file. Let's hit tree here and let's see what we have. We got this new folder. Inside that we have test folder, and if I go into this test folder, cd new folder, cd test folder, and say dir, I am supposed to see that, but maybe I did it in a different one. Let's see, cd ... dir. Hold on.
I think you didn't type the file name first.
I didn't type the file name. That could be. Let me double check what happened to this. Where am I at? Users SQL Fiction desktop. So C users desktop, and inside desktop my stuff. Oh, see where it ended up? Test file. It went into the my stuff. Yeah. I wanted that file to be inside the new folder. So I just go in there. Let me do that again. So new folder, dir, there's a test folder. So let me go inside test folder, cd test folder. And here I'm going to say echo good morning, and say file one. Let me just say file one.txt. Now if I say dir, I have this file one.txt. If I wanted to look at it, how it looks like, there's my stuff. There's something called new folder, test folder, and file one. Double click, shows me I wrote good morning. Close it out. Let's go ahead and delete this folder called test folder. Let's see what happens. So close that out. And right there, So I am gonna go back one step, cd ... I'm inside new folder, and there's another folder inside new folder called test folder. There's a test folder. Tony, tell me, how do I delete this folder?
How do you delete the folder, or how do you go back?
No, how do I delete it?
You do what? RD. Yeah, the
Here,
I don't know. Yeah, there. Yeah. The RMDIR and then the folder name.
Yes. So RMDIR space folder name, which is TEST, and I hit tab. Yeah.
Yes.
Look what happens.
Nothing.
Nothing happened. It's telling me what? The
The directory is not empty.
is not empty. So if it's not empty, it's not going to let you delete it. Okay?
Mm.
So you have
Now,
contents of
that means you have to delete the file inside it, then come and do this command.
You have to delete folder first.
That's right. You have to delete everything inside that folder first, then only it will let you do that. But what if you didn't want to do that? If you didn't want to do that, there's a way to force delete everything. Okay? All you have to do,
Okay.
type in this /s and then the file name. Okay? So RMDIR /s and
Okay.
folder name. So let's try that. I'm going to type in RMDIR /s, and the file name, folder name is test folder. Now, if I hit enter, it's going to say test folder. Are you sure? Meaning there is some files in there. It's not telling you that, but you know that if it's asked you for, are you sure? That means there might be some things that you missed. But if you know for sure that you have some stuff you don't care about, just type in capital Y in here for yes and hit enter, and it has deleted for you. Let's go double check. Desktop, my stuff. There's that new folder. Nothing there. No. Okay. Questions so far?
No, not yet.
Good. All right. How do I delete a file? That was deleting a folder. Deleting a file is a bit different. So let's go back in here. Go to cd ... dir. Inside my stuff, I have a file called test file. And if I just want to delete the file, in this case, you can type in del. All right, space the file name. So this file name is test file. I can just type in test and hit tab. Auto completes for me. If that's the right file, I can hit enter. And it deleted for me. Let's look at it. dir. Now it's no longer there. If I go back in UI, it was right here, but it's no longer there. Let's create another one. New folder, inside new folder. So right now, new folder is empty. It's empty. So I go in here, I go into new folder, cd new, and create one, echo Stein, and type in a test file.txt. Hit enter, go in here, new folder, I got test file name, and inside I wrote my name called Stein. And now I'm going to delete this file. So if I say del test file and hit enter. I go back. It's gone. I showed you how to display the content in a file, which the keyword is you have to type is type. Right. Let's do that again real quick. So I'll create another folder file called. Let me go back. cd dot dot. Let me just do cd. Go all the way back. Clear the screen. And over here, I'm going to make a directory. All right, so Haley, how do I make a directory here? Or create a folder?
Hold on. Say it again.
Oh, mkdir.
mkdir, and let's call it Tony. So I just created a folder called Tony. And I want to go inside the folder Tony. Tony, how would I do that?
To go inside of
Yeah, the folder Tony.
so you're gonna do type. Oh, sorry. CD Tony.
CD Tony.
Yeah. Enter.
So I'm inside
So,
folder Tony. I don't have anything. If I say dir,
yeah.
I got these hidden folders that are systems creating to manage it. Don't need to worry about it. Here I want to create a file. Shobuz, how do I create a file and write Shobuz name inside the file?
To create a file,
And write
we need to create a file, right?
we're going to create a file. We're also going
We
to
can do the echo the file name,
echo.
then put some text, and
Right.
then the file name.
Shobuz. And then what?
Redirect the arrow sign.
Is it SHOBUJ?
Yeah, anything you can put. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
The arrow? And give it a file name.
and yeah, test.text. Yeah.
Okay. And if I say dir, there it is. Okay. It has 8 byte of data in it, which is just his name is 8 byte of data. All right. How do I display the content? You just type in type and then the file name test. Excuse me. There you go. And it types that for you in the CLI. Okay. Desmond, how do I add more text into this without replacing Shobuz? So I'm going to write Desmond name also, including
Echo,
echo. Good.
then Desmond, then dot,
Not dot.
is it a arrow?
Correct.
Double arrow?
Correct. Good job.
Okay.
And
then the file name.
test. Correct. I just added an extra name Desmond on top of this, so it's not going to get replaced. It will be an additional. And Loretta, how do I display the content in the file? She may be handling the kids. Haley?
How do you display the content for the file?
Display it. CD. No, sorry. type the file name, then .tx. So
Correct. And now we have Showbooz and Dismount. Okay. Tony, how do I delete this file?
Force delete or just regular delete?
File,
Force delete.
you don't have to do force delete. Folder, you have to do
You have to-
force delete if it has a file in it.
Oh, okay, got it. I understand. Okay, so to delete RMDIR and then no. Would that work? RMDIR and then you put test.txt?
Well, RMDIR is for deleting the directory.
Okay, so just DEL and then tst.txt.
Correct. So DELs and TEST and then delete that. Now if I say type test.txt, there's nothing. System cannot find the file specified. Okay, so understand the difference between deleting or removing a directory versus deleting a file. If you say RMDIR, that's removing a directory, not a file. And DEL is when you are deleting a file. You have to force delete a directory if that has a file in it. In that case, you're going to have to use the /s command if you want to force delete it. Question, guys?
No, just gotta study it some more.
Yeah, practice it.
Okay, so
All right, so I'm going to delete this Tony folder as well. So cd dot. And Tony, how do I delete this Tony folder?
to delete the Tony folder.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do RMDIR and then the folder name, so then space 20.
Correct. And it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. Next, this is so far, I want you to marinate what you learned, and let's go into some concepts and we'll come back again. Okay. Let me maximize this. All right, what is a version? This is a very popular word, very important word in software world that you need to get into. In dictionary definition of a version, you may have heard that we talk about different versions. iPhone, you encountered this. You will see iPhone coming out with iPhone 9, iPhone X or XI. We got the Samsung Galaxy 8, then comes out 8S, and then 10, 10 Plus. All of these are different versions of the same thing, but something different in it. Maybe a new feature is added to it. A dictionary definition is a particular form of something differing in certain respect from an earlier form of the same thing. So in this case, it's a software. A particular version, a particular form with some changes to it from an earlier form of that same category of stuff. In this case, a software. Now, this version thing, you probably also noticed something called the 2.0. If you haven't heard this, then you should know this. The 2.0 is very popular. The USB that you have that looks like these, that you plug into your computer, these cables, there used to be a 1.x when they first came out. That was the very first version. And it wasn't very fast, but for that time it was pretty fast. It was like 1.5 megabits per second. That's how much data per second it could transfer through this cable. But when 2.0 came out, USB 2.0, they have color scheme, by the way. If you see this plastic part is like black, it's a 2.0. If it's a white, it's 1.0, and so forth. The 2.0 had a significant data rate increase. Notice that 1.5 all the way to 480. Huge. And that's when this 2.0 became like kind of an American nerdy way of saying a better version of something. You might hear some jokes when you go to engineering field that, like they're going to refer this 2.0 into everything. It could be like, I am myself now is it 2.0 version, okay? Which basically they're trying to say that you have improved. Something got significantly improved. Now, funny thing is, nobody says about 3.0, which is way more than the 480. Also, the 3.1, which is even bigger, because nobody talks about this because this was the first one that made a breakthrough from 1.0. So the joke still stays with the 2.0 version. Then the other versions are actually, that's not a joke. So just wanted to throw it out there. Anybody heard any jokes with 2.0?
Yeah, I mean it's almost everywhere. They'd be like, "Oh, anything is better," or two people doing the same thing, or. But yeah, I've heard the 2.0 a lot.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is it's always 2.0. I mean, there's a 3.0, there's 3.1, which is even better, but the joke always stuck with the 2.0. So just FYI. Anyway, same versioning concept applies to software that you're going into. Each time a new software comes out with a different version, a better version, and that's what that word means. Now, let's take a look at overall. This, I'm about to give you a broad scoop of how the software is developed and managed. And this slide is by far is the most important, and I'm going to go deeper into this in the next few sessions. So take a look at this. In the beginning, there's this something called source code. Okay, so this source code is embedded, or sometimes called the master code or master. So if you join a company as a software engineer, there's going to be a source code stored inside a server. Okay, and this code is actually generating this Priceline website from the server in the internet that you can access. Now, where is it stored? This server probably has that C:, a location, and it may, I don't know how, or whatever folder name they decide, they probably have a folder called projects, and inside the projects they may have a project called booking. Instead of Priceline, they may call it booking, and inside booking they may have another folder called hotels, and all the source code needed to display the hotels page, it's going to be inside the hotels folder. Just like you created that HTML and you put it in a folder, they have it the same way. No difference. Then you're probably asking, well, why can't I type this into my web browser, Chrome, and get that? Why do I have to type in Priceline.com? Well, what they did, they don't want you to know where they stored stuff. They don't want you to know this path. Okay, they might just give you limited access to see some pages in this hotels folder. They have a lot more stuff in there that you don't see. You don't have access to see it. So how are they doing that? It's a long story, but in nutshell, instead of displaying general public the folder name, they take it off, and from GoDaddy.com they buy a masking name or their HTTP name, which is called Priceline.com. So GoDaddy probably sells this, or even Google sells these domain name. They're called domain name. And that name, Priceline.com, with this whole bunch of letters, HTTP dot colon www and forward slash, ignore that because that's always there. But this Priceline.com is masking this path, and only this forward slash hotels takes you to that hotel folder page to book the hotels. That was a lot, but did that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So honestly, the file that you created, HTML web page last assignment, wherever you have it in your computer, if you buy a domain name and you set up your computer as a server and you connect your computer and keep it internet connected all the time, you would be able to display your HTML file to the whole world, and you would be able to, let's say you say Haley.com, you bought a domain name, and your domain name, when you buy it and register it, it's going to ask you which file do you want to display there. And if you put in your file location connected with Haley.com and connected to the internet, you got it. You are now broadcasting your computer HTML file that you created to the world. Make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. So, oops. Where was I? Lost it. Come on. All right. Right there. Up. Version control. Okay. Now, what's happening? You got 3 people in your company, a Chinese guy, and I don't want to be racist, so I got an American guy and an Indian guy. These are software engineers. They got hired for Priceline, and they're going to be writing and updating code and stuff. The Chinese guy pulls this data, this code, he copies it into his local computer. This is called local computer. From the server, he copies the code, and he's going to start working on it. Okay. When he's done working on it and he saves his work, he has something called version A, or a new version of this master code. Which code, a pop quiz, which code, the source code or the version A code, has more code in it right now? Version A has more code in it because he just wrote additional stuff in it, copying from the master code. Does that make sense?
So will version A always have the most code?
Always. Your code, because you just copied the master code. That means you have what master code has. Understand?
Yeah, I understand.
And then you started writing more code in it. Then who has more code? The master code has more code, or you have more code?
Master code.
No, you.
Oh, okay. No, I get that. Yeah.
Your version A, you have the copy of the master code, and let's say you you checked out this book from the library, okay? And you took it home, and you added a few more pages to that book. Now, which book has more? The library
sense.
book or your book?
Mine does.
Your does. So you have version A and you push that back out saying, hey, can you take my code into the master now? And your manager is going to look at your extra pages that you added in your book and say, yeah, looks good. And they're going to take that new book version with 2 extra pages and put it in the library. And that's what everybody's going to see. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happening with this other engineer. He's pulling the code. He has a different version. Now he added a couple of pages and he's going to push it back to the library. Your boss is going to look at it and include it or exclude it, reject it, whatever can happen in that thread. Same thing, the Indian guy from India. These guys are in America. They could be doing it simultaneously at the same time. There's a huge management going on. There may be 2 requests coming at the same time for your boss to look at the data, look at the code change, and include it. Sometimes this code can get into each other. Sometimes let's say this Chinese guy gave me a code, I didn't check it properly. I as a manager, I included those 2 pages, but one page has bad data, which is messing up everything. How do I go back? If that crashes this master code, this website is going to fall apart. How do I go back in it in time? All of that can be done. Understand? There's a system for it. And this system is immense. And that's where I'm getting into. But before I do that, let's take a look at then what does the software automation engineers do? All right. Automation engineers also have a source code or a master code that's stored inside the same server, if not maybe different server. And we have 3 automation engineers. They do the same thing. They pull the code, change the version, and push it back. And your QA lead is going to evaluate your code, make sure everything is fine, no bug there, bring it in. But our code is going to go to this website and actually test the website, not build a website. Developers' code build the website or display the website. And QA automation engineers' code go into that website and click buttons, make reservations just like human being. Are we clear with that?
Yeah, we're clear.
The whole process is the same. Whole platform is the same. The code almost looks the same. If they use a different language, fine. They could be using Python. You could be using Java. No problem. Okay? Anyway, so there is a huge management needed to manage these codes coming in and out and simultaneously people breaking stuff. It's happening every day. And you need to go back in time, and if there is a bug in this version of code and you wanted to go back in time and pick a different version, you should be able to do that. And industry is pretty big on that right now, and that's called the version control. Okay, there is a version control tool that will allow you to act like a database and store every single changes you are doing into a database. You're now never gonna see that database. It's invisible. But you can use the command line that I showed you earlier, command line interface, to control that database and go back in time and pick a different version to test the website or even run the website. If, let's say, this Indian guy wrote a bad code and somehow it came in, and somebody made a mistake and not identify the bug in the code, and that's breaking the website, the lead engineer will be able to go back in time and pick the code that was written in that time, which is stored in an invisible database, to restore this web page. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This is the broad idea, and now I'm going to take you somewhat inside it, but more to come in 2 months. There are 4 tools out there. These are all free. One is called Git. The other is called CVS, or Concurrent Versions System, Apache Subversion, and Mercurial. All 4 of these are the top, and there is more there, but you will never need that. If in the interview they ask you how many version control systems are out there, you can talk about these 4. If you talk about this 4, most likely, if it's a recruiter who is hiring you, you probably know more than them. I am only going to teach you one that's called the Git. As a matter of fact, the Git, probably 85% market software engineers use this. A very few does that. But if you end up landing in one of the companies that uses those, if you know Git, those will be piece of cake for you to use. Okay? Any questions about this overall, this broad, high-level view of what is going on in the software world?
Good so far.
Anyone else? No questions?
Okay, they're good.
No.
Okay. All right. What is Git? So Git, somebody created Git. I don't know. I forgot the name. I'm not going to go into the history and bore you. Nobody's going to ask you. But this software engineer created Git, and roughly, why did he name it Git? Anybody knows what the word Git mean?
I don't. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it.
Git actually has a dictionary meaning. Let's check. An unpleasant, contemptible person. An unpleasant, contemptible person. I don't know. This guy who created this, he just thought that this is the name to go. It's just like he wanted that name, so arbitrarily was picked as Git. Okay, but that's what he meant. He just wanted to throw it out there, and we've been using that ever since. Let's go back into that slide. So Git does have graphical user interface that looks pretty, and there are other companies that are actually third-party companies that are giving you those interfaces. One is called SourceTree. These are all free. There is a GitHub desktop, Tortoise, and Git extensions. There's more. If they ever ask you, or if you ever find yourself in a company that they use this, also know that you can use the command line for Git. Now, I'm going to teach you command line. instead of the UI, because command line is again faster and it can do a lot more than this UI is going to do. By the way, I can teach you command line faster than the GUI version or the UI version, because the UI there's a lot of information messing around. There's a lot of buttons and something that you can type in 2 words to do, you may have to pick 3 buttons and type something still there to get it done. So why not just learn Git in command line versus UI? So UI is there, but I don't, even in my company, I see everybody using the command line. Even the older, younger, new ones coming in, they're not using this at all. So, and I see the point. Why not? But anyway, if your company wants you to use this, you can easily learn this, no big deal, if you know what you're doing here. All right? Any questions about Git UI?
So Git command line is more used and more preferred than the GUI?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
And the whole process that I showed you, how you pull the code down, you make a version, and you send it off, all of that is better explained and much simpler, fundamental with the command line.
Okay, sounds good.
You're going to be writing those commands versus you are clicking buttons here and there, and sometimes you might be confused with which buttons to press. And it can mess up things. I've done both. I wasn't trained in both, but I was like, let me check it out. But I don't like the UI either. Not needed. Now, the Git command line looks like the same as the command prompt that we saw, right? Give me some feedback, guys. If this is the command prompt right there, the Git uses, doesn't it look the same as the PowerShell and the command line that we just used?
Yeah, basic concept or basic structure.
Yeah, it's black screen. You have to type some things and so forth. But just FYI, this window, when you open this Git window, anything you write in here and do things, it's going to create a invisible database for you in your computer. It's going to store different versions of changes you're going to make. So don't be don't be shocked that or take it lightly that, oh, it's just a command line interface. Oh my God, no. This interface has so much capabilities. It can store every single move you make on the code and save it for you, so you can go back and forth, navigate, and do a lot of things with it that you're going to see heading towards you later on. Okay. Anyway, going back, what I would like you to do right now is I want to give you about 15 to 20 minutes, and I want you to download Git. And I'm going to show you just 1 or 2 things, and we're going to be done with today's class in the Git. But we're going to resurface on this after about a month or 2, when we have the Selenium installed in your software, in your system, and we're doing real code writing. Guys, I'm going to create a platform for you where you're going to be writing codes, and you're going to submit the code just like in the industry, so that you have hands-on experience. I'm going to review your code. We're going to merge those code so that those we can compile. All of you are going to be acting like as if you are an entry-level automation engineers, and I'll be reviewing your code and acting as an automation lead, an architect, and I'll also teach you how I'm doing that, so that we can have that kind of work environment, and you can use that as your experience. Everything you are going to be doing, which is automating test cases, all that experience, you're going to talk about it in the interview as your experience and whatnot, and I'll walk you through it. All right. So here's what you're going to do. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to take a look at these instructions here and install this. When I come back, I'm going to help you out and show you a few moves. And if you get stuck any reason, and I can also assist you with installing it maybe after class. Okay. I don't want to have everybody wait. So hopefully you are not going to have any issues installing this. Here's what you have to do. First, you go to this website right here, and I'm not going to paste this. You can look up the PowerPoint presentation and click on this link. It will take you to this website. Once you go to this website, you need to click on this button where it says download 2. Or whatever version that is for Windows. As soon as you do that, you're going to see something getting downloaded at the bottom left corner of your screen. Once the download completes, click on that, and it might give you a window pop up saying, "Are you sure?" Click yes on that window, and then this window pops up, and in that window, keep clicking next, 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 until you see a window like this that shows up with the button called install. And then you click on that button called install and just sit tight, and that's it. It will do it for you. Wait, and at that point, just wait, and we will resume the class, and I will show you a couple of things that you have to do, and we're going to be done for today. Any questions about this download Git instruction?
No, I'm doing it right now.
All right, and if you just for a quickie sake, if you want me to paste that in the chat, let me do that right now. Come on. Copy link address and paste it into the chat. No, I didn't copy properly. Let me do it this way. There it is. The link is in your chat box right now. Let me open this up and display this. And set a timer. Let's come back after 15 minutes. Any issues downloading?
I don't think so. I think we downloaded it correctly. I can see the little box with says SPDRO at desk, like the little thing, that little
Green and purple.
the green purple box thing. Is that what needs to be shown?
Probably. Let me make it the presenter and see what you have.
Okay.
Except when you're ready, Tony.
Is this it or?
Yep, that's it. Go ahead and close it out.
Close it out.
No, just exit out.
Okay, cool.
All right. So what you can do now, you have Git in your computer,
Uh-huh.
and you can open up Git anywhere you want to. So open File Explorer. And go to C drive. And create a folder called Tools.
What was it?
Tools.
Cool, got it.
Enter. And go inside it.
Uh-huh.
And right click here. And right before you didn't have this Git option.
Yeah.
And now that you downloaded Git, you have these two options. You have a GUI option and then the bash. Bash is the command line interface. I'm not going to go into GUI.
Okay.
Click on Git bash here. And when you do that, it opens up the Git bash
Uh-huh.
or Git in that folder. Okay?
Got it.
Now, this interface can do basically similar things that the command line interface did. However, it cannot go back. You can only open it with the right click into a certain folder. If you try to say cd ... it's not going to go back. Go ahead and type that in. Yeah, this command, it doesn't recognize it. Okay. There are some commands that you can do that are extra in here that relates to Git, which is version control. You can control which version of code you have in this file or in this folder. I'm only going to show you a few things because you're not going to need it now. You're going to need it in 2 months when we do Selenium, and we're going to store our code. We're going to push our code, pull our code. This window will allow you to copy your master code from your company with just a couple of commands. That's it. Simple. Right now, remember I told you that Git works like a database and it stores every move you make?
Mm-hmm.
It did not start yet. You have to initialize it for it to start, for Git to actually take all your moves and store it in a memory for you and let you go back and forth and stuff and tweak it and whatnot. Okay?
Okay.
So if you type in
Yeah.
do you need to?
No, you're good.
All right.
Yeah.
We can wait. I mean, if you need to plug it in.
Yeah, no, I just plugged it in. We're good.
Okay, good. Let's enlarge this font so everybody can see a little bit better. Click on that icon on the left, top left, on that Git bash window.
Oh,
yeah, to change the font.
Yeah.
Go to options. And is there a font option?
where is it?
Over on the side, first. There you go. Font.
It has font. It says right here.
Sure. Yeah, I think you do. Sorry.
Go by that. Yeah. You may have to say apply. There you go. Okay.
Better? Okay.
Much better. All right. So type in every command that you want to do for the version control. You have to type in the word git. So type in git, and everything is lowercase here. You
Okay.
have, every command is going to have that, no matter what. And you're going to have to hit a space, then your next command.
Okay.
That's that tedious part of this whole thing, and that's why they named it, I think, git or something. I don't know. So git, type in status. Okay, hit enter. It said not a git repository, and anytime it gives you a warning, it says fatal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really fatal, but that's how it's designed. The warning is like fatal.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's not gonna break anything. Don't worry. Don't panic when you see fatal.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna die. So, not a git repository or any of the parent directories, meaning it's telling you that this is not a git repository, meaning you can't store things. It's not gonna work for you. But if you initialize it, then it's gonna become a git repository. Okay. So to do that, type in git space. Instead of writing the full word initialize, type in init, I-N-I-T. Hit enter. It says initialized empty git repository. So it was empty before, but it initialized it. And look what it says on the very right side of this. It says master. So you now have the master level code here, but it's treating your folder as the master folder. But the master code could be actually in the server, but it created an empty master for you down in your laptop. Okay? Type in git status. I think his computer this time really died.
Hi, sorry. I think that Tony's computer just died. He thought it was plugged in, but I guess it wasn't.
That's okay. Let him get back up while maybe make you the presenter.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right. Let me, hold on. Make this a little bit smaller. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, no, Tony's back.
Yeah, both of your mics are on, maybe.
Here, Tony.
There you go. Haley, you can unmute now. Haley, we can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, we're back.
Okay. So maximize this screen. Actually, close this screen out.
Close this.
Yeah, close it.
Mine, I can share mine again.
Tony says that he can share his screen again. Do you want to go back to his?
Sure.
Okay, sorry. I know.
make it no-
Yeah, just make Tony the presenter.
No problem. Here we go. All right. So type in git status and enter.
You have to turn your sounds up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back. Yeah.
Hit enter.
on the other side, so that way when you can push it in all the way.
Okay.
It's
Now see what happens. It says
Uh-huh.
On branch master, meaning you are on master right now in your local. It's
Mhm.
treating your folder as the code. We don't have the code yet. We didn't pull anything from our server yet. Those are coming in 2 months. But I wanted to get your feet wet. It says no commit yet, meaning you didn't make any changes to it. There's nothing to commit. Okay? And you can do some bunch of things here.
Mhm.
I'm gonna leave you at this for now. This is what we're gonna be using to pull the code down in our computer. We're going to make changes and we're gonna save the code by using some command that I'm gonna show you here. And I'm gonna show you some other fun things that you can do to your code from here. And then we're gonna push the code back up again into the master that's in the server for your need to review the code and extend the code. With me so far at a high level?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me take back the floor and finish up the class for you. Anybody had any issues with this download that is not working on you? Speak up now. So everybody's installed fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the real world, you can either use the git bash or notice this particular software that I use. It's called IntelliJ. This happens to have that built into this software. It's actually down here, and it's not called Git or Git Bash. It's called Terminal. If I open this terminal, it opens this window for me. Notice with that same thing right there. You see that? There's my C drive. There's a project folder, and there's this landscape test project, and my cursor is blinking right here. And I already have the Git opened right here. So I can type in Git status, and it tells me I am on branch master, okay, which is master code. Anything got changed is right here, and I can restore it back. It's asking me, you changed this, do you want to save it right now? All of these I'll teach you later, not in detail, but just want to get your feet wet. I can change things back by saying git checkout space dot, and it's going to clean things up. And now if I type in git status again, it's going to say on branch master, your branch is up to date, nothing to change or nothing to commit, working tree clean, meaning I deleted my everything that I did change on. Okay. It's a lot, and I can keep on going, but today is not the day to get you there right now. But all I want you to know is this is the command line interface, and you have to use it either in this software, or you open up that git bash that you just open up, the Tony did that I showed you, or you may end up with a different company with a different software and they're gonna have something similar there. It's gonna be the same, guys. It's still you're gonna type in the same code I'm gonna teach you. It may look a bit different with different view, but fundamentally, it's the same. And I want you to have that attitude when you go hired at some place, that you act like, yeah, I've done this. Yeah, I played soccer in Grapevine. I can play soccer in Irving. The field looks different. You with me? So
Yeah,
that's all there is to it, guys. So I don't want you to come across like, oh my God, I've never seen a field in Irving. He's got the same goal bars and same lines. The out exterior may not look so fancy, and there may be some potholes here and there, but it's the same field. You can play soccer in Irving, you can play soccer in Grapevine, you can play soccer anywhere. The same thing, right? Okay. Any questions before we move on and close out the day?
Nope.
Okay. So that's it, folks. I just need to explain you the homework, and we're done for today. Here's your homework. You need to download MySQL, or some people say MySQL. Just say MySQL. And instructions are here. If you go to autotechnotes.weebly.com session 12, just click on this link. It's going to take you there. Follow the instructions to download MySQL database. Now, you may have some issues doing this. This is not an easy download like you downloaded Git. But I have step-by-step instructions here. So let me take you there and kind of overview it. You don't have to turn in anything on Google Classroom for me for this homework. You just need to have your platform ready to go for next weekend. If you get stuck in any way, I want you to use the Slack to notify me. Maybe give me a screenshot of something and put it there. Please don't expect an answer right away, but I will check it and give you an answer back, trying to help you out. And you as a student, if you want to be proactive and help out other students in that Slack, feel free to give them information. If yours came out okay, you guys collaborate. I want you to collaborate, help each other like a team. Practice now so that you can reflect that when you get a job and you get hired. So if you click on this, it's going to take you to my old website. This is what I used actually to train in the training center. Yours is much fancier than this. This is not that great. The new website is better. Nobody has access other than you do. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to automate using databases, data from database. And that's going to be this particular class, which I'm going to create in a new website in a better, fancier way. But there is instruction here on this page for you to download MySQL. It's not the first part. Just scroll down a little bit and you're going to see this. It starts from here where it says go to, here's number 1. And I have number 1, 2, all the way down. Okay? There's 2 other options. One, you can watch this video. This guy in this video goes through every single step that I have it here and will show you, and you have to do it side by side maybe to actually get this process done. Where you might get stuck a bit is sometimes they change the website a little bit. That means my instruction here may not take you to exact page, but you should be able to click a couple of buttons here and there and play around and figure this out. Folks, that's a skill set that's needed you as an automation engineer to do. You can't always ask your supervisor to walk you through everything. They don't have time. More than likely, you're going to get hired in a company and they're just going to tell you, download this. I'll come back and check on you if you need any help after 4 hours. And you're going to be back in your booth and you're going to be able to go to Google and type in and figure out how to download those things, okay, yourself. But they're not going to ask you to download anything obnoxious. It's going to be same thing. They'll probably ask you to download MySQL. If not, they might ask you to download another software called dbeaver. More of that later. But MySQL is the most popular one. This is free. It's a database that's free for you to use. It comes with some data already. We're going to be playing around with it and learn from it. Okay? So go through this. Here's go to this site. You can even click on it and it will take you to the site. Oh, look, it doesn't look the same. Oh, it got changed. Let me see. Where was I? Hit the backspace. Click on download tab. There's that download tab. Let's see. I go here. Click on the downloads tab. Oh, look, not too bad. Here's MySQL community downloads. Look at this. Go back. There, MySQL Community Edition. Community download, community edition, doesn't matter. Scroll down to click on community downloads. With me so far, guys?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. I don't want to, bore you, but everything, the steps are written, the images are provided. I don't
Got it.
think you're gonna get stuck. I made it so easy here, but still you might get stuck. Let us know. We'll help you out. Don't panic. If I'm not able to help you out until the next class, don't panic. I'll get to you maybe one-on-one after the class next Sunday. I'll sit with you and get it installed. You're not gonna lose anything. What might happen is it might ask you to register as a Oracle client. So if it blocks you from doing in any of these steps, a window pops up and says log into Oracle and you don't have a username and password, go create one. Provide a good email and establish a login with them. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and you may need to have that username and password for you to download this free version. When you are all the way to this step and you have followed all of these information that I have listed here, two things are going to pop up on your window. If it does, you're done. That's step number 20. You're going to see a command line interface open up like this. And you're also going to see a user interface GUI that opens up this way. If you got to this page, you're done. You don't have to do anything more. And you can just close this out and I'll show you how to open this back up from your menu. If you are feeling lucky and happy, you can go and do a few more things in this command line interface. To create a database, there's some instructions here. There's some, type show databases, and that will show you database, what's there. There's more commands here. You can play with it, which I'm going to go over these Sunday. Questions?
Nope.
All right, guys, if no more questions, then that's the end of today's class, folks. I hope you are very good with command line, at least concept-wise, and practice that. You learn what is interface, what's command line interface. You know the difference between a GUI and a CLI. You learn some commands in command line to handle files and folders. You know what a file explorer is. You understood what a version control tool is. What does it do essentially? So review that. And what are some key tools? One of them is Git, and how to download Git in your platform and what is it for. In a high level, you know that stuff. You haven't worked on it. I would say, even though I don't have a homework for you on the command line code, what should you do, Tony?
Still look at the notes that we went over today and practice on our own so you can master it.
Absolutely. Just like I taught with one side, with those PowerPoint slide open, and then on the other hand, I had the command line. I had the command line window open, and I was executing these codes. You should do that and practice your fingers and encode it into your memory, guys. My boss, he only uses 2 fingers to type, but he's like as fast as me. I use 10 fingers to type, and he and I type at about the same speed. It doesn't matter how many fingers you use, but you do need to get faster at these kinds of things. If you're not, then it might show. If your lead is hovering over you and you're it takes you a few seconds to look for where the button is, where the letter P is, that's not a good sign. It's gonna give away that you're new at this. You don't want to do that. So if you practice this side by side, open up and type these things and play around with the folders and creating a folder, clearing up the screen, going up arrow, down arrow, this is going to give you that speed, and you need to practice that even though it's not assigned to you as a homework. Any questions before we say goodbye?
No.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining on time. I really appreciate it. Good job with the XML and JSON work. And see you next week with the start of SQL or database management. You're going to see on the left corner here. I don't have currently anything on it, but I will have something there before your class starts. So thanks. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.